Jeff, we work with him, so super bright dude, crazy charismatic, great energy. He's emotionally attached to the Colts. So you sit there and go, like, you're intrigued by it. Like, all right, maybe that'll work. I also, to pull back the onion a little bit for people, like Jeff and I have been having some conversations over the last 6 weeks that I felt that they were just conversations, like about scheme and what do you think's going wrong here? Or what are teams doing well with this situation? And then all of a sudden the news comes in and you're like, oh, that's why it all kind of was happening. So I'm super fired up for them. I would say this, the Colts are in a situation where their number one goal is how high up can they get in next year's draft board, because they need to fix their quarterback situation. And the only way to do that, or the best way to do that, is getting as close to the number one pick for next year's draft as possible. Yeah, first of all, so happy for Jeff to get this opportunity. And then, Jeff, I wouldn't be doing my job, and Jeff would curse me out if I didn't say this is about the Indianapolis Colts' future. And to your point, what they do to get the quarterback. Also, I think you're going to identify and find a head coach that really is going to take you into the future. Jeff is a consultant, been around this program, great opportunity for him, but I don't think this was something that Irsay was looking for long term. I think they needed a little bit of what you talked about Jeff brings, a little bit of energy, but more importantly, and I don't think people need to miss this, credibility. Yeah. Right? Credibility with the guys that's in that locker room. And if there's one thing about Jeff Saturday, the connection that he has with players, his connection still to the NFL, but ultimately his connection to just playing football a certain way and winning at every stop that he's been in. I think that's what Irsay was focused on in this particular situation right now. Real quick before she goes, I don't think Jeff takes the job unless he has a very clear understanding that it could potentially be his in the future. Potentially.
Reminder, the job is the interim head coach.
Sure.
We continue to say he got the job.
It'll be like hitting this Powerball that's $1.9 billion.
Well, we all bought tickets. Go ahead, Mina.
I mean, I think that brings me to my point about the future, which is he's not exactly being given the best hand to work with. And while we, have watched the Colts make firings on the coaching side, starting with their offensive coordinator, Marcus Brady, then, of course, Frank Reich. The reality is this roster is a bigger problem, has been a bigger problem to me, more so than the coaching. We talk a lot about the lack of a quarterback, and that's the biggest reason behind their lack of success, quite frankly, but it goes beyond the quarterback. I was looking at their salary cap. Of the 10 biggest hits, 3 are offensive linemen. This is one of the worst offensive lines in football. Meanwhile, they spent the second least of any team in the league at wide receiver this year, and we're shocked that this passing attack never took off.
Those are fair
Look,
points.
Chris Ballard has made some great finds in the draft, and he's made good moves in free agency. But when you have to really consider who's accountable for the situation now, I do think it falls upon his shoulders.
A reminder on Jeff Saturday, the interim head coach. He played 13 of his 14 NFL seasons with the Colts. He's a Colt through and through, highlighted by a victory in Super Bowl 41 back in the 2006 season. And he had recently served as a consultant, like we're saying, for the Colts. He's in the team's ring of honor. He had also spent 3 seasons as the head coach at Hebron High School, Christian Academy in Georgia. And last but not least, he had been an NFL analyst here at ESPN since 2013, and certainly a lovely colleague. Dan, when you think about the play calling side, there's currently no one on this Colts staff that's ever called NFL plays.
You got something to tell us?
How do you overcome that? No, Dan, we should break this news. Dan, as far as I know, is not going anywhere. Can we solidify that?
We just joking and we do that on NFL.
It's also meta today. I'm like, Dan, who am I on First Take with tomorrow that Jeff's not going to be there? Anyways, Dan,
it's
sorry.
an interesting day for all of us here. Well, don't worry. You don't have to learn. But seriously, who's calling the plays for them?
The name comes to mind is Matt Ryan. I mean, it's impossible to think. Matt's the only person there that at least has been in those moments of hearing play calls or being ahead of play calls, reciting play calls, their language, their verbiage that they've had in Indy. Jeff certainly is not going to come in and pick it up like that. You have you have the duty to go try and win the game this weekend. So Matt Ryan at least has been there for a couple months and he's been calling their stuff. No one else has. I'd give Matt Ryan the ability to call plays. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the weirdest segment of it.
It's a very weird segment.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.